My family, welcome to yet another one. So a lot of attention has been on President Trump due to this.
Would you declassify the 9/11 files?
Yeah.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah. I did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world.
And a lot of people say that he avoids the question.
You're still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep?
Well, recently he came out to say this, and yet people are still complaining.
Trump has posted on Truth Social calling for the release of the Epstein files, and is insisting he has nothing to hide. That's despite the US president's high-profile feud with his now former ally, Marjorie Taylor Greene, calling her, quote, wacky and a traitor. The pair have been trading blows after the Congresswoman backed a push to release Justice Department files linked to sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. In a post, Mr. Trump says, as I said aboard Air Force One to the fake news media, House Republicans should vote to release the Epstein files because we have nothing to hide and it's time to move on from this Democrat hoax perpetrated by radical left lunatics in order to deflect from the great success of the Republican Party, including our recent victory on the Democrat showdown. Some members of the Republican Party are being used and we can't let that happen. Let's start talking about the Republican Party's record-setting achievements and not fall into the Epstein trap.
Well, before we get into some of the interesting things we just want to share with you, here's what Prophet Angel and Brother Brendan had to say.
By the same people that line up with the scriptures. Oh, Trump is the best president according to me. I've said it before. Best president America has ever had. I wish we had all Trumps in all these European countries, Western world. Trust me, the world would be a better place. But he's being used as a Cyrus. So people come and say, no, but he's a sinner. He does this. So you want us to support a political party called the Democrats that was responsible for the KKK? They started the KKK. Not only that, they started the slavery. They were the ones that enslaved black people. But black people, we just hear nonsense and we go like, yes. We grab lies and we eat them up like medium fries. Now, there's this issue of Epstein that is coming in. I'm going to deal with that part now. So Trump is not producing the Epstein files. People suffer from selective amnesia, so to speak. Have you forgotten that Trump was not president just a few years back? Who was in power? The Democrats. And they had the Epstein files and never released them. What were they afraid of? So he has to release them, but they couldn't release it. And they think there is something damaging on the files that they saw and didn't release. And they impeached the guy and they didn't bring the evidence. If you think twice, you'll be the wisest in your generation.
There's drama in the media, like the Epstein files right now, and the emails, and Trump's all involved, and all this stuff, and people are upset. But now the Democrats are saying that Trump's involved with the Epstein list, and the Epstein files, and the emails, and all this stuff. And I thought, it's that amazing. It got to take the tension off the budget. So the emails are released, and I thought, what a distraction. Where'd the emails come from? Why did they do that a month ago? So many people don't have discernment of seeing what's going on.
If you trust politicians, you will wait for 5 years to remove this one and put this one, put this one and put this one, and you wonder what has happened. Look at America. They removed Obama, and was it Hillary Clinton who tried? Was it Hillary Clinton who tried? When Hillary Clinton tried, nobody said, but you were in the White House yourself, and you didn't fix the things you are saying now.
You were there. You were part of the team.
Now they are saying Trump is not releasing the Epstein files. Why? He's in there. You forgot that 4 years ago, it was your party that was in there and didn't release Epstein files. What did you find on the files that you didn't release? Trump came in after your government was in and didn't release it. And guess what? Let me tell you something crazy about you Americans. Look at what they did that time. They just said there's a water pipe that burst. Following day, Trump had won with millions, by millions. And they said there's a water pipe that... The following day, it was no longer Trump. It was the Democratic Party that had won. Just, are you getting this? So always remember, never rely on politicians. Rely on God.
And what they're saying is actually the truth, judging by what we're hearing right now.
I know, and it's just something that I think we're compelled to at this moment, with the attention on President Trump, with these questions around a pardon. Did anybody see or hear of the president himself doing anything inappropriate as it related to Jeffrey Epstein?
No. Was, I think, to conceal the embarrassment of what Democrats have just done, which is capitulate on the shutdown and get absolutely nothing in return, has been this Epstein dump. All of a sudden, Epstein is everywhere again with the release of some of these emails. Obviously, what we saw was them faking a lot of it and redacting in a malicious way for no reason to try and make the president look terrible. But Congressman, you said that you want transparency on this more than anybody. You tried to release the Epstein files today using unanimous consent. You say Democrats blocked that. Tell us what happened to you today.
Yeah. Well, we go through a procedure called a UC, unanimous consent. I went to the floor and I made the motion, and Democrats had verbally told the parliamentarian that they did not agree with it. So, in fact, it was blocked. It was not unanimous. And then, so it's going to go back through the normal process. And my thought process in all this was both sides are going to pull little fragments out. You saw the Democrats do it today with some email I haven't seen yet. But you got to realize they've had this stuff for 4 years under Biden. And you know good and well that if they had anything on Trump, they would have released.
Keep in mind that the Epstein files were in existence and free to have been opened during the Biden administration. You were there for 4 years. How come you didn't open it as a Democratic Party then? What am I missing? I'm not saying I know. It's a legitimate question. Maybe I don't remember the answer. Maybe my extraordinary producers should be able to help me during the commercial break. But from my understanding, the same files that were open or being open now, with the 220 pages of documents or whatever it is, with various emails, that could have been done when Biden was in office. Well, why didn't you do it? If it's so important now, what were the Democrats doing at that particular moment in time? See, this is the kind of stuff that smells. Because my attitude is just deducing how much they despise Trump is, if there was some real bona fide dirt on him, since you went after him with the 34 felony convictions, which essentially was deduced to him paying hush money to Stormy Daniels, just so she wouldn't reveal their happenings with one another, leading up to the election in 2016. Okay? If you had something like that you were willing to parade him through the streets with, of course, if you had something on him about Epstein, you'd have let it go earlier to make sure he didn't become the 47th president. That's just my thinking from a logical perspective. But what do I know?
The idea that Joe Biden and Merrick Garland were sitting on these emails for 4 years, and we had Russiagate, and we had COVID, and we had J6, and we had all these hoaxes, hoax after hoax after hoax, and none of it worked. And the idea that they're going to selectively now leak an email here, an email there, and they think that the American people are stupid enough to fall for this in 2025 when they've been doing this for the last decade and telling us the walls are closing in, the walls are closing in. No, the walls are not closing in. You just extorted the American people for 42 days. The optics, I don't think the Democrats realize how bad these optics are. You just kept 5 million Americans stranded in airports. You took food stamps away from 40 plus million Americans, and now you want to selectively leak emails and that are essentially vindicating President Trump. I think it's atrocious. I think the American people see right through it.
Jason, people should be angry about it because
that's
there's
the story.
business to be done.
That's right. This is the story, is that as soon as the government shut down, that didn't go the Democrats' way, came to an end, they leaked some Jeffrey Epstein emails.
Right. You raised the question of Jeffrey Epstein in your remarks about in the Q&A.
Well, I think he's got a problem. I mean,
what do you think the problem will be?
I don't know, but that island was really a cesspool. There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew. He'll tell you about it. The island was an absolute cesspool. So,
the Clintons are friends
and he's been there
right?
for many times.
The Clintons are friends.
Well, I can't say friends, but I know
You're friendly. You know them.
They play at my clubs a lot. I have clubs, and everybody likes to play at my clubs.
Are you saying there's a political problem for her if she runs for president?
It could be a political problem. Look, he could be a political problem. Right now, he's Teflon, and right now, maybe not. But he could end up being a political problem. I haven't been overly interested in it. You know, it's a hoax that's been built up way beyond proportion. I can say this: those files were run by the worst scum on earth. They were run by Comey. They were run by Garland. They were run by Biden and all of the people that actually ran the government.
including the auto pen. Those files were run for 4 years by those people. If they had anything, I assume they would have released it. The whole thing is a hoax. They ran the files. I was running against somebody that ran the files. If they had something, they would have released. Now, they can easily put something in the files that's a phony. Like, as an example, Christopher Steele, a person you know well, happens to be from your country. But Christopher Steele, as an example, wrote a book, a dossier. We call it the fake news dossier. And the whole thing was a fake. The whole thing was a fake. They can put things in the file that are fake. But those files were run by bad, sick people. If they had anything, why didn't they use it when I was killing Joe and then he gave out because he was 25 points down? And then I got somebody new. Nobody even knew anything about it. She was a horrible vice president. She was a border czar, but she never went to the border. She never once called a border patrol agent to find out how we do, but she was the border czar. Her name was Kamala. Nobody knows her last name. It was Harris, but nobody knew her last name. So I ended up, how would you like to end up in a race where you're killing somebody, you're beating him, and then they say, all right, we'll take him out. He's not working. Let's put somebody else. And then she had a 6-week honeymoon. It was amazing. They predicted she would have a 6-week honeymoon, and she did. And then she got slaughtered.
Do you feel that?
But think of it. Those files were run by these people. They were run by my enemy. If there was anything in there, they would have used them for the election.
So tell me in the comments, my family, I'd like to hear what you think about this. Could it be that these people are just trying to, it's just a smear campaign, against President Trump? Or there can be some truth to it? My position is just that it's just a smear campaign. If they really wanted to release them, they would have released them.